Hello everyone, Sorin here, and I'm super excited on the How's It Going podcast. Today we're featuring Brian Wilson. Hello everyone, Sorin Vaduva here, and we're super excited on the How's It Going podcast. Today we're featuring Brian Wilson, real estate lawyer. He's our go-to guy since we started real estate, so we really respect his opinion. We got some really hard questions. Are you excited, Brian?
I'm excited, Sorin, and thanks for having me.
All right, let's rock and roll. All right, guys, we are back. Question number 4. And, we all know it's a different market. This market today is not like any other market. We've seen buyers are on edge, sellers are on edge because, obviously global tensions, interest rates are kind of up and down, but more up. Economically, we're not doing the best. So it is a little more difficult time. What do you see in this kind of market, the kind of disputes that are kind of coming up between buyers and sellers?
Right. So Sorin, most of the problems I find are post-closing problems. So problems that arise after the closing of the transaction, after the buyer has obtained ownership and moved in, and it's usually having to do with the state of the property. So sometimes the seller leaves it dirty. It's a courteous thing to sort of leave it broom swept or clean.
Yeah.
Bigger problems are the buyers move in and they discover all sorts of little defects regarding the house. So there's a big rainstorm and then there's water leaking into the basement. So then I get a phone call to find out, what can be done about it and whether the sellers are responsible. A lot of cases, the answer is not much, but there's certainly that. The other ones that are a real thorn in my side are appliances that are not working. The dishwasher is a big one.
Yeah.
Seems to break all the time. And
it's like no one's testing them, right? Not everyone's testing them.
Well, there's a million things, as you can imagine, with a house. Like a house is never perfect. Right?
Yeah,
So I think part of it is where reality doesn't really meet a buyer's expectations. So it depends. Sometimes it depends on the buyer too. Some buyers are more sensitive than others.
Yeah.
Some buyers expect a brand new home, like a perfect house.
Yeah. I paid a lot for this.
Yeah.
Everything's better be working.
So then I would say, that's probably the buyer's expectation wasn't realistic. But other times, you just got caught and there's a problem with that house that didn't get discovered during the home inspection. Cracking the foundation, but that was all buried behind a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
Inspector couldn't catch it, and it's a problem.
Well, once the house is empty, it's a whole lot different. You see everything.
Right.
Or a lot more of the house.
Exactly.
Right? So,
but if you're buying used, keep in mind, it's like a used car. There's always going to be some stuff.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too major, then that's kind of the way it goes for.
That's right. And one thing I tell people, you tell me if this is a good thing, and I've always learned to do this, on day of closing, I think you're the one who told us this, way back, 12 years ago maybe. On the day of closing, you go to the house and check everything. Because if you wait more than after the day of closing, anyone could say, hey, what happened? Right? What happened this day, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days? Right. Anything could have happened during this time. But if you're at least documenting and replying the same day of closing, you have a better chance of saying, oh, well, look, hey, it's from day one. We walked in and this is the issue.
Right. And that has to do with something that's sort of, let's say, a fridge that's broken down. The question is when it broke down. So if something like that breaks before the closing date, then it's the seller's job to fix it or replace it with something similar so the buyer gets what they were entitled to.
Okay.
If you move in and the fridge breaks down a week later, that's the buyer's problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's good to check on closing, because you have a situation, for example, with an air conditioner. You're closing your house in January. We're checking the air conditioner, obviously. You turn it on for the first time in May, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Question is, when did it break down? And if you can't prove that it was broken down before you took possession, then you're going to have a tougher time making a claim against the seller. So
maybe a good recommendation, final walkthroughs before closing, like the day before?
Yes. In fact, before closing is better because that's when you can catch the problem.
Like right before.
Right.
When it's empty.
The day before, right.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, the fridge wasn't working or the dishwasher, so you go with the seller, go, hey, the fridge wasn't well, and a lot of times the answer you get, well, it was working last time we used it, so
Yeah.
we're not going to do anything. We don't plan to reimburse you for the cost of fixing it or replacing it.
Yeah.
So you get that a lot, unfortunately. So that's why I'd say if you can catch it beforehand, then you can do something about it. Once the deal's closed and the seller's got their money and they're gone, then you really need to rely on their integrity, if there's something that needs to be addressed. But again, in my experience, the sellers who do have integrity, they usually are the ones who raise the issue. Say, hey, the fridge just broke.
They'll tell you.
It broke yesterday while we were moving out. Yeah, and they'll tell you, and then they'll do something. Right?
Yeah, we get a lot of good ones like that. No, thank you. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this How's It Going podcast featuring Brian Wilson, real estate lawyer here in Ottawa. If you are buying or selling this year, consider Brian Wilson to represent you. My name is Sorin Vaduva from the Ottawa Home Group. Thank you and have a great one.